This is Winnipeg Sports Talk Daily with Andrew Hustler Paterson and Michael Remis.
Happy New Year to you all. One more time for 2024. Let's do this on Winnipeg Sports Talk, and the vibes are high in the peg after another shutout for Connor Hellebuyck last night. And a big win for the Jets, 3-0 over the Nashville Predators last night at Canada Life Center. And no rest for the Wicked gang. We got another one tonight. One more chance for the Jets to put up 2 points. This is going to be a tough spot, though. Flying after the game, back-to-backs, and tonight, the Colorado Avalanche await in Denver. Eric Comrie expected to start for the Winnipeg Jets. We'll break down last night's game and get ready for tonight. Conor McGahey, the Avalanche host, is going to jump on with us coming up in about 25 minutes or so. Ken Wiebe will join us from Denver. We'll ring in the new year with Ken. And we'll check in on the World Juniors with Dustin Stewart. And then a little later on, go through some of the biggest shows and biggest stories on Winnipeg Sports Talk in 2024. Great to have you all with us here. It's not too bad. A little bit of snow coming out. We got a great sports night tonight. You got the first of the 4 college football playoff games south of the border. We've got Canada, USA, and the World Juniors in Ottawa. And we've got the Jets and the Avalanche to ring in the new year in Denver. Lots for us to get to, and we will get right at it in just a moment. Before we do that, though, I do want to wish a happy new year and extend our gratitude to the amazing sponsors that make Winnipeg Sports Talk happen each and every year. We know how loyal our listeners and viewers are, and we appreciate all the support you've shown them throughout the year and hope you'll continue to do going into 2025. Of course, the gang of Princess Auto, Coolbet Canada, Rollies Transfer, Manitoba Battery, fansfirst.ca, Canadian Club, Wallace & Wallace, the Winnipeg Jets, F Apparel, Boston Pizza, Royal Sports. Of course, we'll get to a why not question of the day for the gang over at Not Auto Corp as well. And remind you that tonight is the deadline and the draw for the second of 3 ultimate 50-50 draws for the World Juniors. Our Manitoba draw, supporting Hockey Manitoba and grassroots hockey initiatives here in the PEG. Dustin Stewart will join us a little later on and touch on that. But you can get your tickets right now before the draw at 11:30 tonight at hockeymanitoba.myshopify.com. Let's get right into it and welcome Michael Remis one more time in 2024. What's up, bro?
Yeah, last one of 2024. Feeling good. Big win yesterday, and let's right back at it tonight. It's a big one, biggest party night of the year. Huss got so many big plans coming, and a lot of sporting events actually. Winter Classic is on at 4. Saw videos of the Blackhawks walking the ring. Canada, USA, and the Juniors. Is that on your card tonight? But yes, the Jets back in action against Colorado. But hey, let's take some time to bask in another W. That's 4 in a row for the Jets. Connor Hellebuyck with a shutout, his 5th of the year, leading the league in just about every goaltending category you can. And the power play, we said into the game, the Predators' #1 penalty kill against the Jets. Power play, I mean, man, when they got on that 5-on-3, it was like 5 seconds. And in the back of the net, Gabe Vilardi, 2 goals. It was a great win. And again, December 31 should be a very festive night as well.
Yeah, no doubt. And welcome to everybody in chat. Great to see everyone here all hyped up after the big win last night and looking forward to New Year's Eve. Wasliness with a very nice super chat. Thanks so much. Happy New Year, gents. Thanks for an unreal year. Go Jets. Go Canada. Wasliness, thanks very much for that very generous super chat. We appreciate the support and appreciate everyone jumping in today. Yeah, listen, we'll get to Canada, USA a little bit later on. That'll be an interesting one tonight. I believe that is a 7 o'clock start here in Winnipeg.
Oh man.
Yeah,
And the
so
Jets is at 7.
we're gonna be doing some double duty, because the Jets dropped the puck. Is it a 7 o'clock game for the Jets and Avs? I thought it
Yeah.
would be 8, but I guess they're starting a little early because it is because it's New Year's Eve, obviously, and people want to go out and rip it up afterwards.
Yeah, I remember, was it last year they played at Edmonton late on New Year's? And I know the late game, there are 2 later games started at 8. Vancouver, Calgary is in that one, and Edmonton is playing as well. Tonight they're hosting Utah HC, so both those are 8. So maybe they want everyone to start a bit earlier. So we get 7 o'clock start. Yeah, it's fine. We'll have to manage 2 TVs or whatever you got to do.
Well, here's the question. If you go out to watch games with friends, like I do most of the road games and will be doing tonight, and you're at a bar that is dedicated to sports and putting the sound for the big game on, is it Canada USA or is it Jets Avalanche?
Oh.
I say Jets personally. I mean, if this is the gold medal game, you might get me to consider going on the other side. I'll be following that game and hopefully watching and listening to our guys call the game tonight. But that's a good why not question of the day for everyone. One more time, and it's a perfect time going into it. Let us know in the chat if you're at your local and you've got both games on, but you can only have the sound on for one. Are you throwing it on Jets Avs, or are you throwing it on Canada and the United States? I vote Jets, but don't revoke my passport, please, everybody, just because of that.
You got your passport right there?
It just happened to be there on my desk.
It's okay. I got mine here too. Actually, I was just renewing it, so it's like in a drawer, like any other day of the year.
This looks like these guys are about to ditch the country or something like that. I'd love to say I was getting it because I was getting on a plane to go somewhere hot because it looks like it's going to be getting chilly coming up this weekend. But I'll tell you what, this is going to be a real fun night and a great way to ring in the new year. But tell you what, for the gang down at Canada Life Center, they sure were treated to a fun one last night. A game, Remo, that I thought the Jets played. You know what? Even though Nashville obviously isn't maybe what we expected to be this year, I don't know if you got that same feeling, but it did feel like a bit of a playoff style game early on. The Jets were very structured. They were not giving very much up to the Nashville Predators. I thought both goalies were, and I mean, listen, you got 2 of the best in the world going head to head last night. I mean, Connor McGahey is the man, and to me, he is the standard right now in the National Hockey League. But UC Saros is world class in his own right, and he made some big saves earlier on. And it really was a game that, I thought the Jets from top to bottom played really well, but it wasn't easy. And those games aren't easy, even if you see a team that, has 11 wins on the season. And I think we saw a perfect example of what is different from last year's Jets team to this year's Jets team, and it is this power play. Speaking of world class, and Gabriel Vilardi with those 2 goals that completely blew that game open, and at that point, a comfortable victory for the Winnipeg Jets. Those maybe weren't always the case in the past, but if you can play like that within that structure with the offensive firepower that the Winnipeg Jets have, you're going to win most nights, and that's exactly what the Jets have been doing, and I thought it was a great way to finish up the home schedule for 2024, hit the road for this one stop in Colorado, and then come back and get ready for 8 more in front of the home fans in January.
Yeah, awesome. Sold-out crowd last night at Canada Life Center. Has the 6th sellout of the season, the team's 4th win in a row, 27-10-1 as we enter the final day of 2024, and yeah, the turning point of the game had to be the 5-on-3 power play. You don't want to give the Jets a 5-on-3, and you see how well they are working together, putting Nikolai Ehlers there, having him shovel it over to Vilardi. And I mean, Vilardi in front of the net, he's perfected. Well, you can go in the front and put it in like we saw, against Ottawa and we saw yesterday. Or I love, him and Zach Hyman do this where they like hug the post, and if you shoot it wide, well, it hits him in the chest, and bounces down, and it's there for a tap-in at the side of the net. So, they didn't get frustrated. They stuck to their game, Huss. You thought, oh, Nashville, they're really bringing it. They bring their A game here to the Jets, but, they really didn't have a lot of high danger scoring chances, Huss. A lot of their shots from the outside, and the Jets were able to stick to their game, make it easy on Connor Hellebuyck. He sometimes have games where he's stopping 33, 35 saves. Wasn't quite there. Yes, I think it was 22 saves in the shutout. So, great team game, and nice to see,
some
of the guys who haven't been scoring, like Dylan DeMello, his first goal, Hustler, in, 42 games, April 9, against these same Nashville Predators, his last goal, and it was Logan Stanley keeping the puck in to Morgan Barron, who's finding DeMello, streaking to the front of the net and just burying one past Saros. Hellebuyck called him a sniper after the game. He can do it all. So,
dude, that goal was that shot? Are you kidding? That was Dylan DeMello? But that is the definition of bar down, and to do it against a completely unscreened UC Saros. I mean, what a way for Double D, number 2 on the blue line. Now, I will say this was the first game all season long where I was in Winnipeg that I wasn't in the building. And I watched the Amazon broadcast while I had some other things going on. I didn't catch. Is his goal song still Montel Jordan? This is how we do it?
I think so. I don't think he changed it.
Do it. Well, he didn't get it. It didn't get played a lot last year. So, it's not like people were sick of hearing it. Although I don't think anybody would get sick of hearing a goal song considering why it comes up. But listen, that was unreal goal for Dylan DeMello. And in a lot of ways, Remis, that sort of, we can say that the power play kind of flipped the game open, but honestly, it felt like if the Jets got one, they were in really good position with the way they were playing defensively, and that obviously held up. And you mentioned Morgan Barron. I thought Barron last night was absolutely phenomenal. And listen, with Alex Iafallo moving up in Mason Appleton's place, who, by the way, we found out last night after the game, is week to week, so he won't be playing tonight and presumably won't be playing for the rest of the week. A great opportunity for Gus to get back in. Dominic Toninato was recalled on an emergency basis. I thought Morgan Barron had one of his best games of the year. He is a big man that has some great speed. He was everywhere last night when they were out on the ice and had some of the best shifts I can remember, and obviously ended up being a big part of setting up that first goal by Dylan DeMello. And then the power play took over. And you saw the look on Bruno's face when they took the too many men penalty with the Jets already on the power play. And at that point, I think he knew that they were screwed. And didn't take long for Gabe to score one. A minute later, he scores another. And the Jets roll, extending their lead at the top of the Central Division. And guess what? Another shutout for Connor Hellebuyck, who, as I pointed out on Twitter after the game, I've been talking about this for a couple weeks, but I think we need to get this. We need this to be a lot louder, folks. Connor Hellebuyck. So I saw James Myrtle tweet yesterday. Yeah, yet another shutout for Connor Hellebuyck. He's running away with the Vezina and deserves some heart love. It's the first time I'd heard that from somebody outside of the market. Connor Hellebuyck is leading the league in goals against average, save percentage, wins, shutouts, minutes played at the most important position in hockey. He should be the clear favorite for the Hart Trophy at this point of the season. And again, they don't give it out at the halfway, but for these conversations, I think it's important to recognize that everyone should be chasing Connor Hellebuyck for this award. Now, again, the award he wants at the end is one for his team, and that's a Stanley Cup. But he is continuing to play at frankly, a historic level. Looking for back-to-back Vezinas. But this is bigger than the Vezina Trophy. The team's record speaks for itself. He is certainly benefiting. I thought Kenny and Rennie did a good job last night. Mentioning this wasn't a Connor Hellebuyck game that he just went and stole it. But when you have a team playing like that with a world-class netminder that is not making any mistakes, you're going to put up a bunch of donuts. And he did it again last night. This guy is, I mean, I don't want to get, fire up too much hyperbole here, but, it was funny. I think it was Harrison who tweeted me back last night, who said something, here it is. There's a very real chance Haley's the best Jets player I ever lived to see. And then just in brackets, I was not around for the Ducky days. Every game he plays for the Jets is the best day ever. I mean, these are living legend numbers right now. And I mean, if he pulls off a third Vezina and could potentially be in for the MVP. I mean, we've only seen 2 goalies in the last 20, 25 years win it in Carey Price and Jose Theodore, if I recall correctly. But, man, he is the story. And I think, we all know that if you're going to do something in Winnipeg, it takes a lot more and it takes a lot longer maybe to get noticed and get the recognition around the league. If the Winnipeg Jets can keep doing what they're doing and Connor Hellebuyck keeps playing at this level, that is going to come. We'll start it here. And, I mean, I don't even know what you can say about Hellebuyck, Reem. I was actually, and maybe someone in the chat, if they want to do this for me, I was thinking about doing this just before the game, but didn't have time. As we go into 2025, I would love to know what Hellebuyck's stats are from January 1st of last year up until today. Because his numbers in this season, in the second half, I mean, everything from the start of the year are outrageous. And he won the Vezina last year. They won the last 8 games. I mean, the numbers will be pretty incredible. So maybe we'll try and put that together over the course of the day. But, I wanted to start off with all the other great things that happened last night, but we cannot overlook just how special Connor Hellebuyck is right now and what this is doing to the Winnipeg Jets' fortunes.
Yeah, a couple things. One, shout out to SK has 20 gifted memberships.
Thanks, SK.
Incredible. So those people will now have microphones beside their name, access to the special emojis.
Pay it forward, new members. Welcome back.
As well. So that's awesome. Thank you for that. SK, and just to clarify, Dylan DeMello's goal song is for this year, This Is Your Night by Amber, which I just heard when I watched Night at the Roxbury during Christmas. But back to Connor Hellebuyck. You're right, Huss. We're watching a living legend goaltender, 2 Vezina trophies, moving up the all-time rankings. He's got 40-plus career shutouts now. He's got 300, approaching 300 wins. He needs 1 more for that. He's got, just signed a long-term deal. So when it's all said and done, he's going to be very high with some very notable names on the all-time NHL goalie rankings. And yeah, I think it is, it is possible that you'll be the best Jets player you'll ever see in your lifetime. Interesting tweet there. And when he comes out, yeah, he gives the Jets a chance to win. And one thing that stood out to me, and I won't forget this, but it was just a throwaway comment from a guest we had on talking about their team's goalie, the team that they cover. And he said, when this goalie lets in a bad goal here or there, every goalie would let in one you'd like to have back. And I was like, I don't really think that ever happens with Connor Hellebuyck, Huss. If he can see it, it is getting stopped. And the Jets are playing a way where he's seeing all the pucks. The shots are coming in from the outside. Now, they played a team in Nashville that's one of the worst teams in the league, one of the lowest scoring. So I know there is a caveat saying, hey, let's see how they do it against Colorado in the playoffs again. But you can't argue with the regular season numbers that he's put up among the best that we've seen in years from any goalie.
You're right. And hey, all those questions are going to be there about this hockey team and about Hellebuyck going into the playoffs. I still maintain that the Jets were so far off of their game and so far outclassed in those 4 games after winning game number 1 that there is not a goaltender alive, dead, living that would have made much of a difference. But I think, again, God knows I don't want to go into 2025 still talking about the 2024 playoffs. We've chewed on that one enough. And I think most people are just optimistic, excited moving forward that the team's learned some very hard lessons the last couple of seasons in the playoffs. And it has fortified this team into a better squad, a more mentally tough, a more committed group. And I think we've seen that over the course of this season. Now, again, there's a lot of hockey left to play. But, man, when you look at the record, the numbers, specifically of Hellebuyck, but of, all the big dogs on this team. I mean, Hellebuyck, or Connor and Scheifele. I mean, the magic that those two have been making. Gabriel Velarde, we sometimes, don't include him, but that line, he's a massive part of. He might not have quite the gaudy offensive statistics that those other guys do, but he also has transformed this power play. And the power play, I mean, the difference between the power play last year to this year is something that I didn't even think was possible, and there needs to be some huge credit to Davis Payne and the job that he's done as part of Scott Arniel's coaching staff to completely flip the fortunes of it. And, who's to say that if you didn't have this power play clicking like it was last year, in the playoffs when you needed it, that maybe that changes at least one of those games, and that changes the series. We'll never know. The Jets didn't deserve to win any of those 4 games. And I think Hellebuyck and every guy to a man knows that he needs to be better, and we'll see how they do right now. But it was a hell of a way to finish off the home part of the season. And we do come to a tough one tonight, Remo, because, I know they're scheduled losses, if you will, when you look at the real tough parts of the season. The fact that the Avalanche have been at home, they didn't play last night. They've been waiting for the Jets. The Jets have that game last night and then get on the plane right afterwards. Hellebuyck won't be in the net. It'll be Eric Comrie, who's had some real tough luck and not a lot of run support. You hope that'll change tonight. I got to tell you, I mean, they will be a big underdog tonight, as you would expect, considering the situation. But I'm really looking forward to seeing the game tonight just to see, what sort of fight the team has left from last night. And, I mean, the games against the Avalanche are not just any other games. And I think back to the game these two teams played earlier this year, which, if I'm not mistaken, was a 1-0 shutout, maybe Hellebuyck's best game of the year, and that is saying something. The games between Winnipeg and Colorado, certainly from this side of things, have a lot more juice based on the division rivalry and the fact that the Jets really feel like they have set the standard over the last few years in this division, and they're one of the teams that they want to get over on. So bring on 2025, but first up, 60 more minutes, maybe more hockey down in Denver tonight.
Yeah, I'm interested to talk to Conor McGahey, Avalanche, play-by-play voice on the radio coming up, Huss, because it's been a weird season. They battled so many injuries. They have Nichushkin back. They have Drouin back. And, they started the year with 2 goalies on their roster in Ananen and Georgiev. And now they have 2 different ones. The pair of Woods, Scott Wedgwood and Mackenzie Blackwood, who they traded for and signed to a 5-year deal. So I think a bit of a different look there for a goalie, but they got the firepower there with McKinnon and Rantanen and Cale Makar as well. And we all saw what Nichushkin did in the playoffs to the Jets as well. So I think it's going to be a great game tonight. We'll see how it goes. And I think it's always I don't know if it's a measuring stick game for the Jets or not, but I think this playoff series, I think everyone has got a little PTSD because every time the Jets do anything in the regular season here, you got people in the chat saying, well, wait till the play. I mean, we're not going to do that every day, but when the playoffs come,
of course. I mean, listen, you don't think that's what the Tampa Bay Lightning lived through after they got swept by Columbus that year or whatever? I mean, but the thing is, it doesn't take away from just how awesome this season has been right now. And I mean, listen, there are some people that no matter what will just look for something to be miserable about or to complain about. I certainly don't live that way. If you're spending time, nitpicking about what the Jets have done so far this season, I would suggest counseling. Because this is a team right now that has been incredibly entertaining, has been worth every dollar that people have been going to pay to see them play. I think they've been making the city proud. And listen, they know they've got something to prove, and they've been playing like it. And it's been a lot of fun. Now, listen, I guess we're going to call. We've got some audio from last night, but we've got Connor coming up, Reem. Do you want me to give a quick thanks to a couple of the sponsors? Then we'll call Connor, and then we can get back to Arniel and Helly after we speak with him.
Yeah, let's just do that because I told
okay. Perfect. Yeah, that is great. Well, listen, one more time in 2024, a huge thanks to our friends at Rolly's Transfer. And listen, family owned and operated for 60, now 61, even more years here in Winnipeg, the most trusted name in moving in Manitoba. If you and your family have a move planned in 2025, get the white glove treatment and take as much of the stress out of the moving experience as possible with our friends at Rolly's Transfer. They're all over the city in southern Manitoba on a daily basis with flexible routes, flexible timing, and great rates for you. And speaking of those great rates, go to their website, click on Request an Estimate, and put in the promo code WST for a special discount on moving services and moving supplies for Winnipeg Sports Talk listeners. Let them know when and where you're moving and what needs to go. And the friendly staff at Rolly's will turn it around quick with a great quote and get you set up for your next move on to bigger and better things for in 2025 with our friends at Rolly's, the most trusted name in moving in Manitoba for over 60 years. Find out more, request an estimate today over at Rollies.com. We got some cold weather coming up. We're ready for it. But you're not really ready for it until you've gone and seen Donnie and the gang over at Manitoba Battery. They got the NOCO 1000 amp booster pack right now, which should take care of any of your worries over the winter. That's for just $139.50. And of course, a great deal on booster cables right now with 12-footers and 25-footers available. Of course, your number one spot for car and truck batteries throughout the winter, with the best and lowest prices in town, period, end of story, beating the pants off the big box stores. And we got other great stuff, too, to enjoy the winter, like maybe the ice fishing flasher battery you need, or that sled battery that needs to be replaced. Pop down and see them. Logan Avenue, Dovercourt Drive, ManitobaBattery.com. Free delivery throughout the city as well with any purchase over $60. And hey, if you're with us live, you've still got a few hours to get down to F Apparel and take advantage of their amazing Boxing Day sale. F, the number one spot for custom clothes for men, has the big sale up until today. 20% off all custom clothing, up to 75% off some menswear accessories. If you need to up your menswear game heading into 2025, it's always F Apparel. But head on down there today to grab the big Boxing Day savings available up until today. All right, let's we're going to do this one on the phone because there's quite the travel situation that we maybe don't have here in Winnipeg for individuals like our pal Conor McGahey, who is going to be doing this game tonight, Reem.
Yeah, I'm going to just call him right now. So they had the morning skate. I actually didn't really see any updates from that. Been focusing on the Jets post-game clips, but here, I'm just giving him a call here.
Perfect. Will he just hear me first?
Yeah, he'll just hear you first.
Okay, perfect. The magic of technology. Phoning people on a computer.
Connor?
Hey, Connor, it's Dustin Remis from Winnipeg Sports Talk. How are you? Happy New Year.
Good. Hey, same to you guys. How are you doing?
Well, we're, I'll be honest. We had a pretty fun first 30 minutes of the program. It's been an amazing first half of the season for the Winnipeg Jets. I mean, another shutout last night over the Nashville Predators, and one more incredible challenge for this team on the road tonight against the Colorado Avalanche, the team that put a bit of a hurting on this team in the playoffs last year. But overall, it's been great. Best of the season to you. How has your holiday been? Has it been quite busy or what?
Yeah, before Christmas, we were on the road 27 of 34 days, which is a lot. So it was good to have a home game on the 22nd and then have the 23rd through 26th completely off, unlike the Dallas Stars. And then we just had a road game on the 27th and now a 4-game homestand. But the time at home has been necessary and good. But one of the best Christmases and most peaceful ever, which was which was really good. I hope the same for you.
Well, yeah, absolutely. And, I think for fans in Winnipeg and fans in Colorado, both feeling pretty good about where these teams are and the direction that are going. Avs, in coming into tonight on a 4-game winning streak and 8 of their past 10, which is a pretty nice spot after a bit of a pedestrian start. But Connor, let me ask you, before we kind of get into the details of where the Avs are tonight and some of the news around tonight's game, what have you thought about the Jets this year, considering how bad they looked in games 2 through 5 against the Avs last season? And what are you hearing when you talk about the Jets with your colleagues around the league?
Well, the Jets are, as the kids say, a wagon, I believe. And look, you got a guy who should win the Vezina for sure, maybe even the Hart Trophy, if you play like that. I mean, how many games has Hellebuyck played? He's already got 5 shutouts. So I'm not saying you've got a fifth of your games as clean sheets, but if that's the world you're living in, it's pretty good. And heard a good quote from Scott Arniel either this morning or yesterday, talking about the guts of the ice, and that was the one thing that I found frustrating and a compliment to the Jets in the first game. A 1-0 loss for us was that the guts of the ice, the middle of the ice, nothing available. I mean, it's like me going to a middle school dance. Sorry, nobody's available. And so there's just that is where Winnipeg has sort of buttered their bread, and I've been very impressed with the way they've been able to defend and then score goals. I mean, you got Scheifele and Connor with 22 each. I think them and Tampa are the only 2 teams in the NHL with 2 20-goal scorers at the moment. So I've been impressed with Winnipeg, frankly, top to bottom. And, going off to a historic start, really. And I know a little bit of a rough patch in the middle there, but they're back to it. And Avs have to take advantage of the fact that they have Winnipeg on the second half of a home and away back-to-back here with a couple days rest for Colorado. First time that's happened to the Avs, frankly, this season, because usually they're in Winnipeg's position when it comes to that.
It's funny. We've been talking about Hellebuyck, and I'm just bringing up these numbers. He's played 30 games. He has 24 wins. A 2.00 goals against average and a .930 save percentage. I mean, the numbers are just so gaudy. And that's been a big part of it. The team does get a lot of credit as well to it, but you put that together, you put together numbers like that. The Avalanche are a team that has, a few of the legitimate best players on the planet. McKinnon, Makar, Mikko Rantanen. We've never talked about their goaltending in that category. And at the start of the year, it was pretty ugly in Denver. I mean, the Jets team could not make a save. I can't remember a scenario where a team, like a legit cup contending team, completely overhauled their entire goaltending situation in the first half of this year. But that's the situation with Colorado. Tell us about the changes in net and how the new guys are holding it down as the team moves into 2025.
Well, the reason you can't remember it is because it's never happened before. Where a team has traded both of its goaltenders that it started opening night with before Christmas. Never happened before in NHL history. So I think that they wanted to give Georgiev a chance because it's a contract year for him. And usually the cliche is, okay, players, regardless of position, are going to play their best hockey in a contract year. That was not necessarily the case with Georgiev. The game that he played at Winnipeg, it's the only time the Avs have been shut out, by the way, this season, was one of his best of the year. The last game he played for the Avalanche, he only gave up 1 goal in Detroit in a 2-1 win. But there were more 3 and 4 and 5 goals allowed per game. And I think that it started with Onanen, that he had a streak where the Avalanche won 5 in a row. He was responsible for 3 of those and really was on a hot streak, but he became inconsistent too. So it wasn't just Georgiev. It was Justus Onanen too. So they saw an opportunity to get Scott Wedgwood, who for my money is the best backup goaltender in the National Hockey League because he He knows that he can go 2 weeks without a start and then be ready to go, or due to injury or if the number one is struggling, he can go in there and play 5 straight. Doesn't matter to him. And his attitude is, he just keeps everybody loose, which is part of, I think, the role of a backup goaltender. So you have that compared with Mackenzie Blackwood, who is a top 5 save percentage in the National Hockey League now, 4-1 with the Avs. He stopped 30 even strength shots in Utah on Friday, 9.71 save percentage in that hockey game. So the Avalanche didn't have consistent goaltending before. They had flashes of brilliance, but it wasn't consistent by any stretch of the imagination. And with the type of talent you mentioned earlier, McKinnon, Makar, Rantanen, Nichushkin, even, you have guys who are consistent every night. If McKinnon doesn't get 2 points, it's an off night for Nathan McKinnon. And, you're talking about only 2 or 3 times all year where Cale Makar has gone consecutive games without points. So consistency is all over the rest of the roster. It just wasn't in between the pipes. So really in real time, Chris McFarland has changed his philosophy on goaltenders. Went out and traded for 2 of them. Wedgwood has a year left, signs Mackenzie Blackwood to a 5-year extension. He wanted to be here. The Avs did their homework on him. They want him to be here. So I think the refit has helped in a myriad of ways. Not only are both goalies north of 930 save percentage, the best tandem, by the way, since Wedgwood took over for Georgiev in Buffalo first week of December, save percentage-wise, the National Hockey League, but their attitude and their affect has really loosened everybody else up. And the Avalanche, because of that, I think are playing their best hockey of the season.
Connor, how do you see the workload being distributed by Jared Bednar going forward? Do we expect to see Mackenzie Blackwood as the number one, or is this sort of going to be a split role and wait for some guy to really grab it and take it?
I would think Blackwood is the number one, and Wedgwood is a very reliable number 2. But look, I mentioned the Buffalo game earlier, Georgiev gives up 4 goals on 8 shots in the first period. Avs are down 4-0. Wedgwood comes in to make 22 saves on 22 shots. Avs come back to win 5-4. And then he goes into Jersey against his former team and gets the Avs' first and only shutout of the season to Scott Wedgwood. I still think it's Mackenzie Blackwood 1 and Wedgwood 2, but as we saw sort of in that in-between time, Wedgwood can play as a number 1. But I would think that Blackwood, who got the start Friday in Utah, he'll go tonight versus Winnipeg. That's your number 1 goaltender for a lot of reasons. And I think the contract would also tell you 5 years, just over $28.5 million, that's your number 1.
Conor McGahey with us, getting ready for one more in 2024. Jets and Avs tonight in Denver. Puck drops just after 7 o'clock Winnipeg time. And then you can go out and ring in the new year with your friends. Connor, you mentioned Nichushkin, and he, we think back, and frankly, I think there's a lot of Winnipeg fans that have nightmares of just how dominant he was in that playoff series. But shortly after that, he let his team down in a massive way again, and obviously had that 6-month suspension. I remember the interviews with some of the players when that happened again last season. And I was really unsure whether he had a future with the Avalanche. He's obviously been given one more chance. We know what he can do when he's actually on the ice. How has it all gone for him rejoining the club? How has he been welcomed back? And how much pressure is there on him to keep doing what he's doing on the ice and keep clean off of it?
Well, I think for him, not all of us can speak to what other people go through, and whether that is addiction, depression, whatever it may be. You can never speak to somebody else's battles, but I think really for the first time ever, because Val is. I do believe he's a sweet soul, and he's dealing with some issues that can be out of his control at times. But he is also very quiet, doesn't really talk to a whole lot of people, and the media not very much. But this year more than ever, especially upon his return, he was very honest about where he was, and where he is now, and that he has put in the work to get back here and will continue to put in the work to stay here, because his impact on the ice is unquestionable. I mean, I don't want to bring up 7 goals in 5 games in the first round series last year, but that's just a small sample size. He's got a 5-game point streak going as it is, and for my money, he should be in the Selke conversation every single year. No one talks about him as one of the league's best defensive forwards. But when he came back, the team adopted something that I think we all could use a little more of, and that's forgiveness, which I think is the only way forward. And the only way to address that is for Val to apologize and say what he had to say, and the team to not dwell on the past, to only dwell on the future, because otherwise it would be wasted energy. And that has paid benefits. From his performance alone to when he's in the lineup, I don't know, the numbers exactly escape me, but the winning percentage with Val in compared to Val out is a huge, huge chasm. And so I think the team knows that. They know that he's not just some selfish guy out there for just him. He does want to be a good teammate. And the fact that he showed that, earned the forgiveness from the team and head coach Jared Bednar, and everyone's moving forward. So that's all you can do. And just pray that he's able to keep it on the same track that he is right now.
Yeah, he is a serious problem for opponents. I mean, clipping it over a goal every 2 games right now, 11 through 20 so far. And you mentioned, what a dynamic all-around player he is when he's hitting on all cylinders, and he just makes his team that much more dangerous. The one guy we've barely seen at all this year is Jonathan Drouin, and apparently he's coming back tonight. Tell us about how he will fit into the lineup and the sort of addition that is for Colorado.
Well, this is the second time that he's missed time this year. He had a upper body injury opening night at Vegas and then missed some time and came back for a couple games, and it was really good. I mean, he had 2 goals and 2 great goals in Florida when the Avalanche beat the Panthers, and then 2 nights later, it was announced he was out with an upper body injury that he sustained in that game. So it's been 16 games since then. And he, look, in the off season, he was doing a new contract. He took a team friendly deal to stay here for 1 more year and play with his Moosehead's teammate, Nathan McKinnon. The 2 of them have instant chemistry. I think if you ask Drouin, he would credit McKinnon with a resurgence in how Drouin is able to play. I tell the story all the time about last year. In his first year with the Avs, Jared Bednar said that Jonathan Drouin was the Avalanche's best defensive forward tonight. I don't think that could ever be said in Montreal, in Tampa, but he was able to reinvent himself here, and he just makes the Avalanche that much more deep. And I think the last time that the Avs and Jets met, the Avs were in a stretch where a couple games there, they were missing 6 of their top 9 forwards. And they've been able to add Nichushkin back in and Lehkonen back in after he had off-season surgery. Now Drouin. So I just think that when you're a top 6 winger and you're as good as Jonathan Drouin has been, trickle-down economics applies to a lineup, and that'll be the case for the Avalanche too. And he'll go right in on power play unit number 1 tonight. So he was a nice surprise last year for the Avalanche. He's been a key piece to success when he has played this year, and the team is ready to have him back.
Hey, Connor, I'm just pulling up DFO. The one thing when I look at the lines on Daily Faceoff that sort of stands out is Casey Middlestat centering the 4th line right now.
Yeah, that started yesterday at practice, and he's been able to make some plays, but he's going through a tough stretch as far as finding the net. Doesn't shoot the puck a lot. So yeah, as of right now, down the 4th line between Jari Inola, who the Avalanche signed from the Swedish League in the offseason, and then Juuso Parssinen, who they just acquired from the Nashville Predators a couple days ago. So with Drouin coming back, there is that flexibility, but Middlestat he's in a a tough stretch right now. Started out the year playing very well, but has lost it a little bit. But as good a hands and as vision as he has, it won't be gone for long. But yeah, that started practice yesterday, and that's how I assume they'll start tonight versus the Jets.
Connor, thanks so much for doing this. Should be a real fun way to kick in the new year with two of the best in the Central going head-to-head. We won't get the Mackenzie Blackwood-Connor Hellebuyck matchup, but you know there'll be a few of those around the corner in the new year. Thanks so much for the time. All the best to you and your family, and have a great call tonight, and we'll look forward to catching up with you in the new year.
Hey, you know the rules. Call anytime, and I appreciate you very much, and blessings to everybody there too. And we'll be sick of each other by the time January's over with. 2 more matchups after this one tonight, so it'll be good.
Forward.
Happy New Year, fellas.
That Saturday night coming up in less than a couple weeks is one that I think a lot of people have circled on the calendar. We'll see you in the Peg, Connor. Thanks for doing this.
Sounds good, fellas. Happy New Year.
Good stuff. There's Conor McGahey in Denver, 7 o'clock puck drop tonight between your Jets and the Colorado Avalanche. Ken Wiebe's going to be joining us in a little bit. Great timing to give a big thanks and Happy New Year to our friends at Princess Auto, synonymous with the city of Winnipeg, headquartered in Winnipeg, founded here in Winnipeg, and of course, coast to coast, but coming in all right out of the center of the country. Of course, Princess Auto. You're thinking about 2025 and what you want to do? Think about Princess Auto for the best deals on the most unique assortment of tools and equipment around. Everything you need to complete the projects on your list and start some new ones in the new year waiting for you at Princess Auto. Pop by and see them. Panet Road, Portage Avenue West, Brandon as well for those folks listening and viewing outside of the city in Westman. And, of course, wherever you are, you can shop online 24/7, 365 at princessauto.com. Big cheers and a Happy New Year to our friends over there at Princess. Speaking of New Year's tonight, and I know many of our listeners have already popped in and taken advantage of this before it's all gone. But if you're popping by what will probably be a very busy Manitoba Liquor Marts this afternoon before tonight, and you're thinking about a nice whiskey to add to the New Year's plans, get your hands on, if you can find it, on the remaining quantities of the Invitation Series, Canadian Club Classic, 18-year-old high proof, the first ever 18-year-old whiskey produced by Canadian Club with the well-known smooth, well-balanced taste of CC Classic, carefully aged and bottled at a higher proof for a full-body tasting experience. The Canadian Club Classic 18-year-old high proof was just awarded gold at the 2024 International Wine and Spirit Competition. Grab it before it's gone, because that's it at your local Manitoba Liquor Marts for $79.95 right now. And a big cheers to James and the gang over at Canadian Club for their great support throughout 2024 and into 2025. And also want to wish well to our great partners at Wallace & Wallace for a great 2024. The fencing and overhead door specialist. They've been doing it here since 1946. In 2025, if your property needs the security and protection of a new fence, they have you covered with vinyl, ornamental, welded wire, chain link, or wood fences, and are the go-to people for any temporary fencing needs all year long. And hey, if it's time to replace your garage door, make sure to talk to Wallace & Wallace. They've got the largest selection of overhead garage doors in the city, something perfect to match your home and add value to it at the same time. Give them a call, 452-2700. The Wallace & Wallace team will arrange a time to come out and give you a free estimate. You can also visit them at wallacefences.com or pop down to their showroom on Lawson Crescent off of Kenniston. All right. You know what? I thought that we were going to Denver, but it looks like Ken is actually back in the home office, back here in the Peg to ring in the new year. What's up, Weber? How are you?
Sorry, let me just get in for 1 second.
Oh, hold on a second.
They
Remis,
can't hear him.
Remis has not. He just needs to bring
I'm good
you
here,
in.
buddy.
There's some Perfect.
Okay,
Perfect.
Remo.
Happy
Hustle's
New
good
Year.
to be with you. Yes, Happy New Year. Hope it was a Merry Christmas for you and the Paterson family there.
Hey, we kicked the Steelers' ass. It
The Chiefs.
It was a great
yes,
Christmas.
I wasn't asking about that. I mean, I know what happened there.
That made it
your
for a great Christmas,
first seed.
no matter what.
Top seed. You're going to be happy and all of the good things. So, at the home office today, just a one-off, obviously. Even though we're happy that we to have United back flying direct. One-off here with no paper on New Year's Day. We're watching her from home. We'll be monitoring closely.
Now, just quickly, this is what everyone's going to need to know. Will there be K&R post-game?
There will, Andrew. We had done some debating on that front. Sometimes, much like what we tried to do with the Bomber game with the West final, you're sort of kind of torn between which way to go. Maybe go in the morning, but we are going to go up sort of around the usual hour. Hopefully, get her up by 10:45 or 10:50. I don't know that we'll get it all the way to midnight, but definitely try to get out so people can get doing their thing at midnight and beyond. And then if they want to catch it in the morning on the replay and on the podcast, they are welcome to do so. But yes, we would love to see you there. And if you're celebrating elsewhere, enjoy and bring in the festivities, whichever way you are. 2024 has been a great year, Huss, for both of us, and certainly looking forward to 2025, which will bring the big 5-0 here for the person that you were speaking with.
When's your birthday?
March 25th, yes.
Oh, my God. I think the Jets played
Buddy,
the Caps
Ovi,
that night.
Ovi won. Yes, Ovi.
Yes.
Ovi in the house, yes.
I can't believe I
Could
know
be
the
some
schedule.
historical films, Huss. Could be some historical films happening there.
Dude, you know what? If he didn't miss the time that he had, there was a real possibility. We know that there has been plenty of milestone moments happening here in the Peg. That would have been cool. But yes, that'll be a big, big day. Now, Ken, I will tell you, you guys do a great job every game. You are all business all the time. But let me tell you that this is the one night of the year. If you guys are benevolent enough to do the post-game show on New Year's Eve, it is a full green light to be as greased as you want. And if you need to take down an extra couple of Shirley Temples tonight before getting on the air with Rennie, it's a full green light.
I appreciate the offer, but I am writing the game story for the Free Press, so I don't know that my employer. You don't have to worry. We may indulge afterward, but certainly not beforehand.
Okay, one other behind-the-scenes question.
Yes.
How much negotiating did you and your co-host have to do with your significant others for this broadcast tonight? One more in 2024.
Well, I can't speak for my partner on this one. I know that often he has New Year's Eve plans, but us, quite frankly, I've covered so many games on New Year's Eve, even dating back to the Moose days, that it hasn't really been a big celebration in our household. So it's certainly always, when you get to spend the time together, you enjoy it, but it's not something that it's just another normal day on the calendar. Let's put it that way, Huss. I don't have to make up on any brownie points, but we will do our best regardless on that front as well.
Excellent. Well, breaking news: K&R live tonight after the game. It's like,
be there if you can. Yes.
Back in the day, it was Dick Clark's New Year's Eve. It's Ken Wiebe's New Year's Eve tonight for Winnipeg
we're
Jet
gonna
fans.
have to try to see if we can help the ball drop somewhere. I'm not quite sure how, but we have a few hours to sort something out on that front, Huss.
Maybe the Jets can drop a ball on the Avs right now. I mean, considering the way they played last night. Listen, we all know that this is a really, really tough one, and I mean, if you were going to look at individually the toughest spots on the schedule, playing the night before at home, going to Denver afterwards, playing a rested Avalanche team. I mean, this is a challenge, and the Jets are a big underdog. But this is a great opportunity for them to maybe, help out their boy Eric Comrie the way they did Connor Hellebuyck last night. I thought you did a great job. Like, listen, I can't say enough about Hellebuyck. He leads the league in everything. He's now down to a 2.00 goals against average, a .930 save percentage. He's got 5 shutouts. He's got 24 wins. How can he not be the leader for the Hart Trophy? But that's a different conversation. Last night, just a phenomenal team win. And you tell me, Ken, did that feel sort of like playoff hockey for the first kind of 30, 40 minutes of the game where it was not about making a mistake. It was about, keeping things to the outside, taking what you could get, and then Dylan DeMello put the team up. They took advantage on that lethal power play that's been such a big part of this year, and kind of a workman-like 3-0 win that everybody had a part of.
Yeah, so I just think that given the way things have gone for the Predators to this point, and, having spent some time in the room yesterday speaking with Steven Stamkos, Ryan O'Reilly, with the head coach, Andrew Brunette, let's not kid ourselves. Preds are in playoff mode already. It sounds absurd. They're not even at the halfway point here, but given the hole they have dug for themselves, they have to get on a roll at some point here if they want to get themselves back in it. To a man, they said they still have the belief that they can get the job done. And Huss, they would be one of those teams a la the St. Louis Blues of 2019. If they get in, not a lot of teams are going to be really interested in playing them in the first round. Having said that, the Jets brought their own version of playoff hockey, and they just refused to get sucked into a run and gun type of style game with the Nashville Predators. They didn't get into trading rush chances. They did a nice job defensively. And after the first period, they literally gave up one high danger chance in the last 40 plus minutes of play at 5-on-5. And that's an impressive feat for a team that, not too long ago, there wouldn't have been a lot of times 3 years ago we would have said, man, Jets held their opponent to one high danger chance over the last two periods. So for me, the stark contrast in their ability to play sound defensive hockey while not sacrificing offense has been one of the biggest developments. And again, it's made Connor Hellebuyck's life easier, but that is to take nothing away whatsoever from what he's doing. And as you mentioned, we have to talk about Connor Hellebuyck in the Hart, not only the Vezina, but the Hart Trophy conversation because of what he's doing right now. And the numbers themselves are absurd. 930. I think Jesse Granger from The Athletic posted a stat this morning on the old Twitter X machine. He's a full 0.03 ahead of the league average. This is rarefied air here. Huss, he's at 299 wins. Will have a chance to hit 300 on Thursday against the Anaheim Ducks, which will give him the 300 wins, and which is an important part of the triumvirate there, with also shutouts at 500 games played, and then it's I think 40 shutouts. I think Mike wrote about it in the Free Press today. He would become just the 30th goalie to eclipse all three of those totals, and that's 30 guys in over 100 years of NHL action, Huss. We're not just talking elite, but this is Hall of Fame type of level territory here, and it's been very impressive to witness firsthand for sure.
Well, listen, unless your argument is that goalies don't qualify for the Hart Trophy,
right?
Which is, that's not the case. Carey Price won it.
No.
Theodore won it. As long as goalies are in the conversation and are eligible, I don't know how he can't be the favorite right now for this award heading into 2025 if people are actually paying attention.
The argument, Huss, would be that it's probably going to be 62 games versus 82 for 80 to 82 for the bulk of the players. But Connor is also in rarefied air in that he is a workhorse that will probably start at the top, or if he's not number one, he's in the top three in terms of games started. He will also have the opportunity to be the starter at the Four Nations. So I think that the normal part of the conversation does get chucked out the window when you consider the workload and the rarefied air that he's currently playing at, for sure.
Yeah, this isn't like Linus Ullmark winning the Vezina, sharing it with he's lapping the field in all of these stats, and then you add minutes played.
Yeah,
he's the clear leader in minutes played as well. Now, they may get, and hopefully they will get to the point in the second half of the season where they have given themselves enough cushion that they can give him some extra days off if that is what the coaching staff and he feels is the best thing to do. But I don't know how you can ignore the fact that he is... and again, number one by a lot in pretty much every one of these categories. And a second back-to-back Vezinas, a third Vezina trophy. Sometimes, and again, both at that position and in a market like this, you have to do a little bit more to sort of just barge yourself into the conversation. He's done that right now. And I have a feeling that this is going to be a topic we'll be spending a lot of time on in the new year as we get closer to the second half because of what he's done.
And again, I think that he's definitely in the top. He'd probably be in the top 3 on my ballot. I mean, league wide, he's got to be in the top 5, no doubt about it. He should be in the finalist category. But I mean, the only other thing, Huss, I mean, like, look no further than the opponent. The guy that won the Hart last year's already got 60 points this year. So on a team that had almost 0 goaltending and suddenly has crept its way within 11 points of the Jets and 4 points of second place in the Central Division. So all to say, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying there is some stiff competition around the league for sure. And I think the only thing that works against Hellebuyck, and it shouldn't, is that he's not having to be Herculean every night and stealing games. Now, oddly enough, with the timing here, that's not to say he hasn't stolen games. He absolutely has stolen games, including one against the Colorado Avalanche last month, where they were vastly outplayed for the last 2 periods, and he still posted a 35-save shutout. The 5 shutouts, they're a testament to him. They're also a testament to the improved defense in front of him. But you don't penalize a goalie because he only has to make a certain number of high-danger stops. His goal save above expected is still among the league's best. So he's just done an exceptional job. And that's the other part. Again, we talk about big and boring all the time. The other part that counts against him that shouldn't, this is a conversation I had with Adam Lowry yesterday, Huss. Because Connor makes really difficult saves look routine and sometimes mundane, you don't get the crazy Patrick Waugh windmill specials that show up on the highlight reel and kind of catch the attention of people that don't watch the Jets on a regular enough basis. So again, I'm not making the argument against him. I'm just making the argument for people who, maybe should be paying closer attention. And again, the beauty of this debate is that, there's half a season left, and if Connor continues to play at this absurd level, he's absolutely going to be one of the 3 people standing there when they hand out the awards.
Yeah, well, as I said, he's it is just incredible. 30 games. He's won 24. He's getting a shutout every 6 starts. And now up to that gaudy 930 number. And another good start with less than 2 goals against, and we'll be talking about a goals against average that starts with a 1. We'll see how that goes for the rest of the year. As far as last night goes, the power play has just completely changed this team, Ken. I mean, you'd see their ability to, and the confidence that they have in whipping the puck around. Now, that's another conversation as to why maybe it took so long to get Nikolai Ehlers on there. But listen, everyone is a big, big part of it. And I think playing at a higher level than they have in the past. How much credit should we be talking about with Davis Payne? I mean, I think Scott Arniel's done a great job this year. I mean, we knew the questions about it, what the team did last year. The record speaks for itself. A big part of that record, though, and the difference, I think, between them and Colorado and a couple of the other teams in the division has this complete 180 with the power play. Just your thoughts on how important that has been to the Winnipeg Jets and how important it will continue to be, especially when you get past the regular season, knowing how power plays can change games in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, Huss, you have to give credit to Davis Payne. I mean, this was an open application process for the job. It was very clear the Jets would be looking for a new coach that had power play background. This power play background coach also happens to have a Stanley Cup ring, which he earned while coaching against the guy making the decision to do the hiring. So that certainly would have worked in his favor to begin with. But secondly, I mean, he came in with a set of principles that identified some of the weaknesses that the Jets' previous power plays have had, and he's found a way to continue to add wrinkles and layers to this power play so that it continues to hum along at a 30+% ratio, which, again, us a couple of years ago, we were talking about the Oilers revving around at 36.5. The Jets are looking at all-time territory here. Yes, they've dipped a little bit, but now they're cranked back up, and it's really been impressive to watch. I think we saw some of the elements on display last year for the Jets, especially after the arrival of Sean Monahan and when Gabe Vilardi was in the lineup. I mean, the fact that Vilardi missed so much time last year, I think, impacted last year's power play as well. But the puck movement is just so much better, and they're doing just a better job of taking that attack mentality, Huss. And I mean, could you have ever imagined a time when we were going to games as teenagers that the Macarena would be a popular song, and then the number of people actually busting out the moves from the 90s? I mean, it's quite something to see.
It's funny you bring that up. I got a text last night during the game that said, by the way, we need a Macarena PSA on Winnipeg Sports Talk, reminding people how to do it properly, or maybe educating some of the younger fans that weren't as much caught up with the Macarena craze back in the day, because they're getting many opportunities to do the Macarena in public, which is not something that you would normally think of in 2024 or 2025.
For sure. And again, just this is well beyond the numbers and the impact. I mean, my point was the impact that Vilardi is having, both as a distributing option and a shooting option. And Huss, I mean, I think that the first Vilardi goal is sort of a, when this is an example of when things are going well, this happens. Ehlers looking to find Scheifele on the sweep pass, kind of flubbing it, and it landing right on the tape of Vilardi in the high slot.
It's called deception, Ken.
Well, sure, it definitely was it was deceptive to all parties except for Vilardi, who was ready to bang it home. But just the difference between having confidence and not having as much confidence, and with the man advantage has been massive. And just Vilardi's ability, again, I said it on the show last night. Honestly, I think he's one of the best down low players on the man advantage since Joe Pavelski. And I mean, he has that ability to tip pucks, but he's also it used to be called the Hyman, right? Getting on, his second goal is getting to that back post, finding the puck after it hits him on Kyle Connor's shot and then banging it home. And Huss, the crazy part is I'm still baffled. I've watched it, I don't know how many times. I still can't believe he didn't have the hat trick on his drop step move in the second period. I can't believe it. He literally walked out around Saros, and somehow Saros got the inside of his pad on it, and the top spin kind of spun it through the crease, even though it looked like he had gone wide enough to go around him and stuff it. Somehow it hits the inside of the pad and spins its way. It was Pro V1 territory, Us. It was a little suck back play on the sand wedge there. But anyways, Vilardi's been exceptional. And sorry, the numbers are exceptional. Of his 17 goals, 9 of them are on the power play. Of his 34 points in 38 games, 17 power play points. But Huss, this isn't just a power play only person. He has been the glue on the top line that, so many people shouted loudly in the chat room and said that line can never play together again. Those two can never play together. Well, I mean, I think Scott Arniel would like a word with some of those people. I mean, and which side of the fence I was on in this discussion. And again, no victory laps at game 38, but this is part of the reason why Scott Arniel wanted to give them a little longer runway in order to stay together, because since the 9-2 deficit, they're blowing the competition away at 5-on-5.
No, they they certainly have been. It's been a great turnaround from a rough first few games. Although the power play was still going, that's one part that's been the constant. And I mean, look, the numbers speak for themselves. By the way, T Winnipeg 204, thank you for the gifted memberships for the gang in the chat. Very nice of you to do that. We appreciate you. I am being informed that there is, in fact, in the Winnipeg Sports Talk Discord, video of none other than Gregory doing the Macarena. So we may have to bring that up at the end of this to educate people. It's a hell of a way to finish up 2024 from one of the OGs and the original caller number one from back in the day. Moving off the top, and I want to talk about the blue line for a minute. Dylan Coughlin last night I thought was awesome, but like the Dylan DeMello goal was phenomenal. Like bar down. I mean, what a great way to get off the schneid for Dylan. Morgan Barron made that pass. And Ken, I don't know whether it was my perspective from a different place last night. I thought Morgan Barron was absolutely phenomenal in last night's game. And, with the injury to Appleton, Iafallo moves up. I thought Kapari was buzzing. David Gustafson had a lot of jump. But I mean, Morgan Barron, he was everywhere, and he had a couple shifts where he was the first guy back, the first guy down on the other end. This is such a good and deep team right now that there are players that are absolutely capable of probably playing further up the lineup that are embracing their roles. What did you think of Barron in particular last night and just where he's at, and the fourth line overall?
Yeah, I liked his game a lot, Huss. The pass is exceptional. Smart play by Stanley at the blue line, but Barron just absolutely feathers it through like three bodies. Philip Forsberg is caught puck watching DeMello with a beautiful shot. But I'm with you. I love Barron's game and loved it to the point that, again, I'm not saying it can't work with Alex Iafallo on that third line with Appleton being out in the week-to-week format, but if you're Scott O'Neill, you wouldn't hesitate to move Barron into that spot if you needed to. We know he has experience with Adam Lowry, and when he plays that type of game, Huss, where he's moving his feet and on the forecheck and creating some offense as well, that gives him a little bit more. That element and the physical element can give that line another. Again, that's not to say Alex Iafallo is not physical. He is, but he's not physical in that body size. So I would give a longer leash to Iafallo because I think that he can play that job, more than capably. But Barron, that we hadn't seen this version of Barron, Huss, I don't think, since the days he was regular on that line before Nino Niederreiter arrived on the scene. So I'm with you. I thought it was one of his best games of the year. I think his ability to, score the 5-on-5 goal the other day really helped him, even though, yes, it was a tap in a lot of ways, but it was the pass that he made on the play and then going to the right spot. It just looked like he had a lot more confidence. And I know folks were joking about it with Niederreiter having Yossi over for dinner. I can't imagine that Morgan didn't have dinner with his brother when he was in town the night before the game. And even though Justin was a healthy scratch, those guys are tight, and I'm sure they had a good conversation and got caught up. And I'm sure he had a little extra zip going, even though his brother wasn't, in an opposing jersey there. So, yeah, Huss, I'm with you. I think that the fourth line overall, I liked a lot of their game. Gustafson's been really good since he came back from the concussion. Scary moment for him in his life. I mean, as he pointed out, I think, in the article with Paul Friesen, he was KO'd, like full on knockout, and that's a scary thing to come back from your first fight. I've liked his game a lot. As you mentioned, Kupari was buzzing around for sure. Is using his speed effectively and efficiently. So, I mean, the fourth line hasn't been an issue for the Jets. I mean, would they like a little more offensive production? Probably, if they could get it, sure. But overall, that fourth line has been solid for them. They're not just a tread water kind of line anymore. And I mean, honestly, you could make the case that all four of those guys would be, if you had to put them on the line with Lowry and Niederreiter, all of them could bring an element that would allow them to be capable in that job, right? Don't you think? I mean, speed of Kupari could work there. Barron obviously has played there before. Gustafson's smart enough to play on that line. And, and obviously Iafallo is going to get the chance because he should. I mean, that's the job he played with with
you'll
Kopitar,
remember,
right?
like through last year, I mean, when they started rolling with Appleton and Niederreiter, I kind of always thought they would end up with Iafallo there. And then, I mean, listen, Mason Appleton had a career year. He had 36 points. He's on a very similar pace this year. Is very good on the forecheck. He's doing all the things that they want from someone in that line. And to be honest, I know people say, well, change it up. Go. Like, that's a good thing. If you can have Alex Iafallo and Morgan Barron and Rasmus Kupari doing what they've been doing this year at the fourth line. Like, I watched Barron play last night, and I couldn't help think how effective and important a player like that playing at that level could be come playoff time. And we all know that that's going to be the ultimate test for this team and every team in the National Hockey League this year. It hasn't just been the brilliance of Scheifele and Connor and Velarde and Ehlers up front that have been doing it. It really has been top to bottom. Obviously, there's been some changes on the blue line, and with the amount of hockey that we were seeing, I'm not sure if you have any tips on what you expected to see. By the way, Rick Benson, thanks very much for the gifted subs, and Eric, thanks for the super chat. Happy New Year, fellas! Thanks for the support. Dylan Coughlin got back in, and I heard you on KNR yesterday refer to him as the Capobianco. I mean, I thought that was the best analogy. A guy that's just basically been in mothballs and eating popcorn just kind of comes in looking like he didn't miss a beat. You put more games like that together. I don't have anything. I'm not I don't think Logan Stanley did himself any disservice last night with the way that he played. But at the same point, we've sort of been going back and forth. Is it, Villy's going to get in? Logan Stanley's going to get in. Dylan Coughlin's sort of been the forgotten guy. And I'll tell you what, he reminded a few people of what he was capable of last night.
Yeah, Huss, no doubt. It was a I'm still here type of moment here displayed by Coughlin. And yeah, I mean, as you mentioned, it's hard to, it's hard to read the tea leaves on this one with no morning skate and everything else. But I won't be surprised if Coughlin's playing. Let's just put it that way. I think he did a good enough job to keep himself in the discussion. Again, I think Colin Miller is playing very well, Huss. But again, we're looking at, Scott Arniel said that he would get all 7 in the 2 games. So that means Hanel should play today, or they would expect him to play. Again, and I think Miller's been playing well, but, Miller had gone through a stretch where in the rotation, it would make sense to have Colin Miller potentially sit down in the second game of a back-to-back. I mean, going into altitude. And again, it's not a knock on Miller or how he's played, but he's 34 years old. So, whose legs could use a break? Potentially Colin Miller's, right? I'm just trying to deduce what you would think of if you're on the coaching staff here. And it's not punishment for Miller because Miller played another sound game yesterday, but you have a guy who's played 4 hockey games this year. He should have a little bit more in the tank than the guy who has played in more games and been very effective for the Jets. So, if we're assuming that Hanela is in because Scott Arniel wanted to get both guys or all guys in, I would think that if Coughlin is in, it would be potentially for Colin Miller. And then you'd have both guys playing on their strong side. You have Hanel on the strong side coming back into the lineup. You have Coughlin playing his normal right side, playing back-to-back games at the NHL level for the first time this year. I think he had a huge benefit from being able to play in the games with the Moose when he was sent back down after clearing waivers. So that would be my guess, Huss. And again, some people might say, well, just take Stanley out. Well, in the last 2 games, Stanley's played 19 and change and 18 and change. So although we know that there's still people shouting from the rooftops, I'd be surprised if Stanley is out of the lineup. I mean, he's been playing on the second pairing the last 2 games with Pionk, and there have been some moments where that pairing has been effective. Now, again, with Dylan Sandberg's return around the corner. Again, it's not imminent because he hasn't skated fully with the team yet in a non-contact jersey outside of the optional yesterday, which doesn't really count. To me, it's still going to be a little while, at least a week probably for Sandberg. So there's an opportunity here, Huss. We said this would be an ongoing discussion and competition. But, with 2 guys out, Dylan Coughlin had an opportunity to jump back in, and he said, by the way, I can still make some smart reads. I'm 6'2", 208 pounds. I can play a physical game. I can move my feet. I can get my shot through. So to me, he is making his case for inclusion in further evaluation, and not just at the Manitoba Moose level where he is a, number 1 call-up situation. To me, Huss, he's still in the mix to be in the top, 6 or 7, whatever way you want to put it. Yes, right now he is the 7 with the healthy guys, but I'd like to still see more, and I won't be surprised if Scott Arniel and Dean Chynoweth want to see more. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, listen, I think we know that this is going to be a process over the course of the next month, 2 months, heading into the playoffs and or to the trade deadline, and then we'll see. By the way, yeah, shout out to Elias McCracken. Just a quick nod to my favorite Winnipeg Beat media pillars, Mr. Wiebe, Paterson, and Remis. Elias. We walk with Elias. Hope you get that one. Appreciate you, buddy. Thanks
Even when he
much.
spelled my name with the E and the I flipped around, we'll give him a pass. It's December 31st.
It's an internet typo.
Autocorrect got him again.
Shout out though for getting 1 T in Paterson. That's good. Usually I'd say I get that
exactly
probably as much as you do.
Even I spell that wrong on occasion.
Kenny, listen, hey, before we go, and I'm looking forward to the final K&R of 2024 tonight. And I know people will be going out. You might not have the massive numbers right after last night's game, but we'll all be watching when we get home or tomorrow morning. So that'll be a big one. Do you have any massive New Year's resolutions? Have you had that long look in the mirror, that conversation with yourself in the bathroom saying, starting tomorrow, this is what's happening?
Well, Huss says, I don't spend as much time looking in the mirror as my podcasting partner, but
more more zingers in 2025. Yes.
But he's a better looking guy than me, so that's why he looks in the mirror more. But I couldn't resist. But no, just everything is fantastic, Huss. I would, we'd like to get. I don't know if we can get back to the pandemic levels, but certainly going to try to drop a few lbs in the new year. But got mostly a clean bill of health from the physical earlier this month. So thankful for that. Thankful for everyone reading and following and listening and watching and all of those things. And as we know, we always say we're blessed to do what we do and try to bring the passion and bring the joy level high when we can. And just looking forward to another great year ahead for sure. Wishing you and yours all the best as usual. I do have to say, Huss, I know I've expressed my frustration on this program with fantasy sports, and after a brutal 5-9 campaign, happy to report you're looking at the champion of the Desilets family playoff pool. I knocked out all three sisters with my woeful team, even though last week I had Jaden Daniels on the bench with 44 points and played Baker Mayfield, who got 26, but I still I snuck in with a 1-point victory last week in the semifinal. So naturally I would have flip-flopped the quarterbacks because of what happened the week before, only to see Baker have 44 on my bench this week, even though Daniels did do a good enough job getting 37. So as much as I am frustrated by fantasy sports, happy to report a rarefied win for someone who, seems to always pick the wrong guy, even though I was smart enough to get him on the team. And Huss, I'm going to just share quickly as on the way out. My strategy for this year, I drafted every person that was on the receivers except for Debo. So I had all of Justin Jefferson, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Devontae Adams, and George Kittle, and they were massive parts of helping me get to this, rare title. So
you jumped on it, and that quarterback decision. We were talking yesterday about 90% of the discourse in Winnipeg being about the 6 defensemen, and that was not first world problems, but first place problems. That's exactly what you have to have. And by the way, speaking of fantasy football, I wanted to mention this yesterday.
Oh, this is awesome.
And this is just the coolest story. We have, a media fantasy league that Taylor Allen from the Freep started last year. And, there's 12 teams. And obviously we lost Ted Wyman this year. And just a couple months ago, during the season, heading into the Grey Cup. And we had kind of thought of, what to do with Ted's team. And Taylor's the commissioner, said, he would just make sure he's got his lineup set, but would just keep it as is. And if you can believe this, Ted made the playoffs and ran the table, beating Hammer in the final. And
which is awesome.
All of our money from the league, there it is, Mahomes boys. Look at this roster that he had. Jared Goff, A.J. Brown, DJ Moore, Mooney, Swift, Derrick Henry, George Kittle, Patrick Mahomes, Aubrey, and Miami. And listen, that's one of the sad things when we look back at 2024, losing Ted. But what a legacy. The league now, we have to. It's going to be the Teddy Bowl for eternity as the championship game. And everything that went into the league is going to go to the cancer care charity in Ted's name this year.
Awesome.
So
he's still looking down on us.
He's laughing at all of us right now.
If you had any doubt, if Teddy was still paying attention, there's a pretty good indicator right there.
He's upstairs at the bar top, wearing one of his Winnipeg local brewery shirts. Yes. Maybe the fedora, maybe some of the drip that he used to bring on the program, actually. And having a big chuckle at everyone. And there's no one that he would have liked to beat more in the final than Hammer as well. Anyways, that was an awesome way to end the fantasy season and in 2024. Wiebe, give Stace my best to you, the family, the entire Wiebe clan. A happy new year. Thanks for everything this year. And I can't wait to do it again with you in 2025. We'll talk to you next week. Have a great night tonight and a great show with Rennie.
Thanks, Huss. Love you, buddy. Happy New Year to everyone out there, and thanks for your support. Cheers.
Good stuff. There is Ken Wiebe, and again, for the people tonight, one final time, K&R. And wouldn't that be something if the Jets could get a win on the road in a really tough spot with Eric Comrie in net, and have one more wild K in our chat post game tonight. That was a heck of a lot of fun. All right, there's been a lot of talk about this Gregory video. I believe we may have that, but let's. Speaking of cheers, speaking of New Year's, I would highly suggest that if you're having some people over, if you want to serve some of the best beer our city has to offer, you know what our favorite is. Winnipeg's favorite local brewery, Little Brown Jug. One more time, a big cheers to our friends down at LBJ heading into New Year's Eve.
You train day in and day out, learning new techniques, approaching new concepts, and living out the thrill of achieving your goals. Building a craft beer is no different. While you spend your hours on the ice, we spend ours here, brewing our trademark beer. Again, and again. Here's to pushing the status quo and challenging ourselves to build something memorable. 1919 by Little Brown Jug.
All right, and hey, speaking of tonight, New Year's Eve, you may have plans around midnight, but we got a couple big hockey games to get to. Canada, USA, Jets, Avs, both starting right around 7 p.m. So might I suggest you get together with your crew, head on down to your local BP sports bar, take an Uber, have a few schooners, get some of those world-famous BP wings in you, grab one of those gourmet pizzas. Of course, you'll be able to pick a player for the Jets game and win some great prizes when the Jets score, and you still got chance to enter in to qualify to win that amazing grand prize trip to Boston to see the Winnipeg Jets and the Boston Bruins at the end of January. A highly anticipated matchup that I'm also going to send you to see the world champion Celtics at the TD Garden the night before. Hotel, airfare, and all. Enter to win at your local Boston Pizza when you show up for Jets nights. And, of course, we've got a big day of college football tomorrow with the playoffs and more. When you're getting out to watch the big game, make it BP, your number one spot for that here in the city of Winnipeg. And, hey, I also want to give a big thanks to our pals over at Royal Sports for their great support over the years. It's a labor of love working with the guys at Royal. They're good friends, and they also have the best sports store maybe on the planet. You're not going to find more stuff anywhere than you will at Royal. And obviously, it's a headquarters for Winnipeg fans, whether it be for the latest Winnipeg Jets jerseys, merchandise, and more. Tons of exclusive stuff for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. The best selection in NHL, NFL gear, Major League Baseball, custom lids, including Jets hats you won't find anywhere else, some custom ones that they've done as of late, not to mention international soccer, the biggest hockey section in town, and so many cool things over on the Kings skate, snow, and surf side. Heading into 2025, if you have needs for anything sports, keep it local. 750 Pembina Highway, our friends at Royal Sports. Looking forward to a great 2025 with the gang at Royal. And follow them on Instagram as well, if you haven't already, at Royal Sports Winnipeg for the latest merchandise drops and sale information. All right, Reem, now we do want to get to the World Juniors and check in with Dustin Stewart. Have we located this Macarena video from Greg?
Yes, I think waiters provided. I think Gregory Liverpool, #1 listener. He's in our chat all the time, Discord, calls into the coaches show with Mike O'Shea.
He's a Winnipeg radio legend before we even got to this space.
Yes. Posted a video of him doing the Macarena, demonstrating how to do everyone. He's got some good dance moves here.
All right, this is how it's done, folks. People asked for the tutorial. Okay, here's Greg. Forward.
Hands out. Now you got to turn, though. Hands out. Shoulders, head, waist.
Macarena, or the Gregorina, as it has been called in the chat. Absolutely killing it. This is how it's done. You know, we might need to turn this into an instructional video. Is Greg here right now?
I don't even know if he's here.
He'll be very honored, though, that this video was one of the final things we did in 2024. A great job. And I love the fact that is the benevolence of Gregory for people that didn't know about the Macarena. just took it into his own hands, did a video, and made it happen. Rum Hut, textbook. Exactly. You know what, Remis? That Macarena video from Gregory gets 5 big booms.
Boom.
Boom. Boom. Boom. Boom. Boom. I had to do it. That one's dedicated to Connor, if he's watching, who's out in New York right now. Geez, we got to squeeze that one in 2024. That might be done in 2025. So at least we had one more chance to do it. Anyways, the GFL. Oh, is he here right now? Yes, Greg. There it is. Hello, people. Greg, did you just get here, or did you see that the Greg Arena was just dropped? I had people texting me last night that we need a tutorial on the Macarena for people that don't understand how it's done when Gabe Velarde scores, and you had already blessed us with that in the Discord, so we thought we would show that. We've got some more to do. We actually do want to get into a little bit of a discussion of the best of 2024, the biggest shows on WST, some of the big topics. I imagine that'll probably carry into Thursday's show as well. But we've talked a lot of Jets. Canada, USA tonight at the World Juniors. Here's the scenario tonight. We'll throw this out. Shout out to James Duffy, who put this out. So Canada lost to Latvia in the shootout. USA lost to Finland in OT. So this is the story right now. Group B, 1 and 2 is going to be Sweden and the Czechs. And then there's a big drop-off. Both of those teams 3-0 going in. I believe they play in about an hour. The winner of Canada-USA tonight wins Group A. That much we know. However, if that game goes to overtime, Canada will finish no lower than second. If the Finland-Latvia game goes to overtime, Canada will finish no lower than second. Now, actually, now that I think about it, that game might be going on right now. Let's do a quick look on
the Latvia, Finland, that's happening right now. Just started.
Oh, okay. They've just dropped the puck. Finland's up 1-0. Okay, 5 minutes into the second period. So still very much up in the air. If that one goes to overtime, Canada's guaranteed of second or better. But if Canada loses in regulation and either Latvia or Finland wins in regulation, Canada finishes third and has to play the loser of today's game between the Swedes and the Czechs. The goal is to be in the top 2 for sure. So that means get this game to overtime at worst. And here's wild. If Finland wins in regulation and Canada beats the United States, the States will finish third and play the loser of Sweden or Czechia. So unlike most World Junior tournaments, there still is a lot to be determined on this final day of group play. We've also got your final day to get in for draw number 2 of the big World Junior 50-50 draw. You can check that out, hockeymanitoba.myshopify.com. There's a link in the description. But just for a little bit on that and the tournament, let's bring in our pal from Hockey Manitoba, Dustin Stewart, on Winnipeg Sports Talk. Let's welcome in Dustin Stewart from Hockey Manitoba for the latest on the tourney and your chance to win big. What's going on? Happy New Year to you.
Yeah, same to you guys. It's a big day today, right? New Year's Eve game always feels like, for the World Junior tournament, like that's when the tournament really starts. It's kind of like the back nine at Augusta, right? We're ready to go here.
You know what? That's a great analogy, although I will say this tournament is a heck of a lot more interesting than normal through the first few games. Listen, that Latvia win, obviously not something that Hockey Canada wanted to see, but I will argue great for the tournament. The Finns beat the United States. More so than any tournament I can remember, we have some real legitimate competition from some of the have-nots with the perennial favorites.
Yeah, it's everybody talks about parity, right? Whether it's in the NHL or seeing in the World Juniors, and that's what we've seen. You have a team and short-term competitions. Even for us at Hockey Manitoba with our provincial teams, we always talk about short-term competition and how different it can be from what you see in a regular season, and that's what you saw, I think, with Latvia against Canada, where a hot goalie can make a huge difference for a team. And, unfortunately for Canada, we ran into that the other night and had a bit of a tough outcome there. But yeah, I think these tournaments are always a little bit more fun when you have a pool like Pool A, where, depending on what happens today with some of these New Year's Eve games, like it could really throw that pool into, a little bit of chaos. And I think in these, chaos is fun. You don't really know where that's going to end up. It changes the quarterfinals a little bit in terms of, what some of those matchups are going to be. And, for the guys over on Pool B with Sweden and Czechia, who, seem to have had two pretty good tournaments between the two teams, all of a sudden you're looking at saying, well, hey, we thought we were going to be ending up playing a Latvia, or we may end up playing a team like Germany. And now we might end up playing Canada or the US, depending on what happens today. So it's made for I think a fun overall viewing experience as somebody who obviously has some pretty close ties to Hockey Canada as a provincial branch. Would we like to see things have gone a little bit better so far? Maybe, but they're still in it and they're still there, and we see where it kind of goes from here.
Well, you know what I mean? It is kind of funny. I mean, certainly, under the auspices of Hockey Canada, Manitoba and Hockey Manitoba would be a smaller branch, and you can maybe kind of, feel the underdog story for some of our teams historically with something like what the Latvians are doing going up against powers like Canada. I will say, though, as far as what this done is the tournament, like, full disclosure, I have never watched a Latvia-Germany game before, but I was glued to that game after we did WST yesterday. And I mean, you could see what it means to the young man. I mean, for Latvia to qualify for the first time, and now for Germany to have to go and play in a game where if they don't win, they're not in next year and have to requalify. So, listen, it's been a real interesting tournament so far, but to your point, this is where it gets real. And, man, Canada-USA on New Year's Eve, so great to have the tradition back. And this will be a real interesting game because I think both teams really feel like they have something to prove to themselves, to their own fans, never mind the natural hate that comes with the rivalry between these two North American powerhouses.
Absolutely. It was, it was funny. I think it was on Christmas Eve. TSN was replaying the New Year's Eve game from, I think it was 2009, where Tavares scored a hat trick, and the Team Canada came back from being down a few goals, and that's the history of some of these New Year's Eve games between the US and Canada. And it's going to be an uphill battle. Like this, this American team is strong. They've got a lot of first round picks out there, and just players that come out of that US development program. They have some chemistry that for Canada. Again, in a short-term competition, you're trying to develop that chemistry. You hope that you have guys who have played in the U18 program together, maybe played in the U17 program together in previous years, and now have a little bit of that chemistry. But I think that's something for Canada that people forget at times, is that they are still having to develop that as the tournament goes on, where a lot of these players on the U.S. team have played extensive amounts of hockey together through the U.S. development program. And so they come into the tournament usually clicking a little bit more with what they're doing, and that's where I've seen even on our end at the Hockey Manitoba level the way that teams can develop through a tournament and start to kind of hit their gear once they get to the end of the round robin. And I think ultimately that's whenever you have a tournament where there are quarterfinals, the round robin. Do you want to be at the top of the pool? Absolutely, but I think ultimately it comes down to, can you hit your stride at the right point? Can you start peaking when you need to in that quarterfinal and push into the medal round? And then it doesn't matter who you play. Like at the end of the day, it's Team Canada. They can beat every team in this hockey tournament. And so at that point, it's just a matter of, can their coaching staff and can the players, overcome a little bit of the adversity that they've seen to this point? And then can they really make that push starting in the quarterfinals after this game today and start working through to get to that gold medal game? Because they're by no means out of it. So hopefully they can start getting that figured out, and we'll have some good hockey to watch here over the next few days.
Well, and listen, just as we get to the Canada's ultimate 50-50 draw that people can get into for tonight and then the final draw on the 5th, the schedule is a little different. As I remember it, for, traditionally this tournament, we were having the gold medal game usually on like a Tuesday or Wednesday.
Yeah.
But I mean, right now, today will be the final game for Canada and the USA. Tomorrow's the day off, and then we get right into the quarters, I guess, on Thursday, with the final being on Sunday.
I believe, yeah. If I remember correctly on the schedule, that's kind of how they've reconfigured it and trying to get it done there. I think some of the feedback has been in the past that that weekday final, with it being on a Monday, or being on a Tuesday. One of the tough things always is, from a general public standpoint, that's when we get back to work, right? For a lot of people, they finish up their holidays and they're back into it. So I think, kind of reconfiguring that schedule a little bit and having it finish there on the 5th is going to, I think, allow for people to really be engaged a little bit more heavily in the tournament, especially if Canada is successful and makes their way to that gold medal game. And, hopefully, people get the opportunity to really have a bit of a blowout at the end there to celebrate that gold medal game and kind of finish out the tournament before you get back to work after the holidays and kind of life hits you in the face and you're back to all the things that you're doing. So.
Yeah, well, I think the Sunday will definitely be appreciated time by a lot of fans, and fingers crossed, we'll have a Canadian team in it to cheer on. Now, one of the big benefits of this event, not only it being here in Canada, I mean, an opportunity to showcase the best juniors. It's an opportunity for people to grab their 50-50 tickets and support their local branches. If people had missed it or maybe they'd been away, tonight is the second of 3 ultimate 50-50 draws. And you know what, Dustin, you can maybe speak to this for a moment. I mean, I think we've been pretty clear letting people know that this is basically a 50 draw within Manitoba. We've cut up all the provinces. So there'll be a Manitoba winner. And obviously the most important from a Hockey Manitoba standpoint is that the 50% that doesn't go to the winner goes to continued grassroots hockey programming and initiatives right here within the borders of our province.
Yeah, that's been, really the big push with Hockey Canada is, seeing over the last, 10, 15 years that the numbers that these 50-50 pots have gotten up to when they're at the actual event have just been astronomical, especially if it's in Alberta. Good gracious. Like some of those numbers coming out.
Everyone's wanted a piece of it.
Exactly. So, with that being the case, they looked at a way where they could try to ensure that every province gets the opportunity to benefit because, hosting the World Junior Championship, I know a lot of people in Manitoba have really fond memories, myself included, of going down to Grand Forks in 2005 and being a part of that tournament or being a part of the tournament back in '99. But, the logistics of running the World Juniors have changed. And we're seeing where, it is repeating in some of the bigger cities, whether it's in Canada or in the US or obviously in some of the places overseas. So, we don't necessarily get the chance to host the tournament, but that doesn't mean that we don't get an opportunity to benefit from some of the components of it. And one of them is the 50-50. So having the specific Manitoba portal for the ultimate 50-50, as you said, Huss, is just giving that opportunity for that money to come in and that money to stay in Manitoba. The money, half the money goes to a winner in Manitoba. These tickets aren't being sold for our pot to people that are outside of our province based on the eligibility. So it's only being drawn amongst people in Manitoba that are purchasing tickets. And as you said, that money, the other half that isn't going to the winner, is staying here, and we're going to be able to reinvest that into grassroots programming and try to continue to provide opportunities for more athletes in our province, whether that's kids who are already playing hockey or kids from non-traditional hockey backgrounds that are looking to get involved in the game. So it is a great opportunity for us, and I think we've exceeded some of our expectations already with our first draw. Ended up. I think it was just under $14,000 on the first draw for the total pot. So our winner got to take home just about $7,000. And then for Hockey Manitoba, a little chunk for us as well. And for right now with this ultimate 50-50 draw number 2, we're looking pretty good. So we're pretty happy with that and happy with the opportunities that are going to be provided with these funds that are coming in.
Well, and listen, I mean, if you're watching with us live, you still got time, and there's a link in the description of this YouTube video below. So click on that. If you're listening to the podcast, and this might be a little later on this evening, you've still got time. I believe it's up until 11:30 tonight. You can get your tickets. And again, if you're listening on the audio version, go to hockeymanitoba.myshopify.com. And you've got options from a single bullet all the way to a massive 999 ticket purchase with the best value. And again, this all goes in. We're already over 11K. And like normal with these ticket draws, I would imagine that we'll see a big rush and push heading into tonight's big Canada-USA game, Dustin, that will take this one beyond where the first of 3 draws was.
Yeah, we, even in the first draw, we saw a real boost once the Canada game got going on Boxing Day. I would say we doubled our pot amount just from the time the game started until the draw closed at 11:30. So I think today with the New Year's Eve game, kind of being a similar situation to Boxing Day, where a lot of people are getting together and probably having watch parties tonight as a part of their New Year's festivities. So that's something where we're pretty hopeful that we're going to see another big boost in ticket sales as we kind of go through that period of time this evening with the Team Canada game. But everybody has opportunity to purchase tickets basically all throughout the day today. And that'll run again until 11:30 p.m. tonight, and then that draw closes, and then we'll be drawing the winner shortly after that. And then there's still the one more opportunity after that. We still have Ultimate 50-50 draw number 3 that will start at 11:45 p.m. tonight, and that runs until 11:30 p.m. on the 5th. So there's still one more opportunity.
And you mentioned, those watch parties tonight. If you are getting together for New Year's or with a bunch of friends, I highly recommend, we're doing this together with myself and a few friends. We're going to kind of go in as a team, get the 999 ticket one, which certainly gives you the best chance to win. And everyone wins if we get it in. We're going in as a team. So
that's just if you're able to do it, if you're able to swing that and get those three other people or 4 other people together, whatever you need to do. The value on the 999 tickets for $200 is absolutely where the best value is. So if you have the ability to get those folks together and be able to do that, that's it gives you your best chance, right?
That's the plus EV move. I don't think there's any doubt about that. So again, tonight, New Year's Eve, up until 11:30, you've got the opportunity to count yourself in for the second of 3 draws for Canada's Ultimate 50-50. And again, the winner will be in Manitoba, and all the money stays in Manitoba for grassroots hockey initiatives under the guise of Hockey Manitoba. And then your third and final chance is going to be on Sunday. Same deal. End of the gold medal game will be the final draw. But I can't think, Dustin, of a better way to roll into the new year with Canada beating the United States and winning the 50-50.
Absolutely. Well, I know our the first prize has been claimed. Our first winner came forward for 50-50 draw number 1, and I know that individual had indicated it wasn't the worst surprise in the world at the end of Boxing Day to end up with just under $7,000 now on its way into that person's bank account. So this, like you said, another great opportunity to ring in the new year with a little bit of extra scratch and a little bit of a nice kind of boost to start 2025. So hopefully people can get in there and get their tickets, and we'll see a nice boosted pot here for New Year's Eve and for the second draw. And then hopefully Team Canada helps us out and makes things exciting as we kind of see through the rest of the tournament, and helps us end up with maybe a gold medal game there on the 5th. That's going to provide again a nice pot for that Ultimate 50-50 draw number 3 to close out the tournament and make this a success for kind of everybody involved, from the Hockey Canada level to Hockey Manitoba, and to the folks that get to walk away with a little bit of money at the end of it.
Yeah, well, let's finish 2024 in style. And they often say good things come in threes. How about this? A Canada win against the U.S., a Jet win against the Avalanche, and one of our WST listeners winning the Ultimate 50-50 draw. That is the recipe for success heading into
that sounds like a great parlay to finish the year.
You got it. Again, gang, hockeymanitoba.myshopify.com. Jump on, get your tickets before the game tonight, or really up until the end. Again, you technically have until 11:30, but considering what goes on New Year's Eve, I wouldn't wait till 11:15 or so. Do it in advance. And then, of course, you'll have an opportunity to get tickets for the third draw, the final draw, to be drawn Sunday night after the gold medal game, beginning on New Year's Day. Same link, hockeymanitoba.myshopify.com. And again, there's a link in the description if you're finding us here on YouTube. Dustin, Happy New Year to you. Good luck to our Canadians, and good luck to everyone getting in on the potential riches of the 50-50 draw tonight, and of course on the January 5th as well.
Absolutely. Happy New Year to you guys as well, and appreciate having me on today, guys. Thanks a lot.
Good stuff, pal. Thanks so much. There's Dustin Stewart from Hockey Manitoba, Canada, USA tonight at the World Junior Hockey Championship, and hours to go to get in for the second of 3 ultimate 50-50 draws at Hockey Canada. And, of course, the website again, hockeymanitoba.myshopify.com. Good luck, everyone. All right. I know I said earlier today that we were going to maybe get into some of the best of 2024. But that we could probably go an hour on that. And there's tobogganing for Michael and his family coming up. There is some revelry for yours truly coming up. So I think we will wait on that, and we'll kind of get to some of our favorite things going into the new year and looking back on Thursday's show. But one more time, why not question of the day? I would love to know from all of you with us in the chat of any New Year's resolutions that you all have. Remis, do you have any New Year's resolutions? Have you ever been thinking about this, or is it just try to survive and keep up with your growing family on a daily basis?
I think trying to stay healthier, maybe. I got to get some more exercise in us. I always say every month, I'm like, yeah, this is the month. We got a treadmill in our basement that it's not going to be a clothes hanger for me this month. And I don't know.
That's what January is all about. Move those clothes. Get that thing turned on.
Yeah, so maybe I'll start using it more. I don't know. That would be a big one. And just continuing this, I always try to challenge myself to do new projects with Winnipeg Sports Talk. So we'll see what we have new in store for 2025, and 2024 was fun. We did have a lot of highlights, a lot of that I was looking back, a lot I didn't remember. The ticket pack was something that was very fun, and look to continue that. January 16 is the next one. We'll be there.
Yeah, you know what? It has been, doing that, and, again, thanks to Dorian and the gang at the Jets that have, been so keen to work with us, and a huge thanks to everyone that's joined us. The first 3 games this year, a very different start to our package than last year,
yes,
where we were 0-3. In fact, in a lot of ways, Remis, that win over Calgary at the end of the year last season might be one of the biggest moments of 2024 in WST, because that was the referendum. If the Jets did not win that game, we had to ban ourselves from getting WST grooves because we would have been 0-4 for the season. Since then, though, won that game, won the watch party this year. We are 3-0. So I'm quite optimistic that we'll have another good result on Thursday, January 16th. So if you haven't already joined us at one of our Winnipeg Sports Talk nights, or you have, grab your tickets for that one. Go to winnipegjets.com/WST. Our next game is Thursday, January 16th against the Kraken. And then we've got 2 other Friday games later on this year, Feb 7 against the Islanders and March 28th against the New Jersey Devils, which should be a really, really fun one. So, again, a big thanks to everyone that's taken part in that. And obviously, thanks to our friends at the Jets. And we wish them the best for a very big 2025. Also want to thank the gang at fansfirst.ca. And I will tell you, the chat today for fan feedback has been absolutely bananas. But I will tell you that I'm not sure anything Remis has made the chat explode like Gregory's Macarena video. Of course, fan feedback is brought to you by fansfirst.ca. Fans First, your best spot for both buying and selling Winnipeg tickets on the resale market as a season ticket holder. I can tell you I've used it a few times this year, both when I needed a couple extra tickets last minute, as well as when I was out of town and realized I had my seats. Customer service is top-notch. And the bottom line is, unlike StubHub and some of the other services I've used when I've been traveling, there's no fees. What you see is what you pay. And in today's economy, that is very much welcome. Let's get to it. There are so many. Here's our buddy Sam Crow. Hey, Happy New Year to Sam Crow, a great supporter of WST. He's lamenting the auto-drafting his fantasy team, winning the regular season, but losing in the championship. Wicked John was at the game last night. Great game last night. It was row 3, section 112, eye level with Bucky, the one period he was down there, and got to see both of Gabe's goals close up. Great stuff in my end. And then the the comments about the Gregory video are incredible. Rumhut appropriately said textbook. It was incredibly well done. Dallas, I think, just came into the show and just asked what is going on. Nicole loved it. And then Gregory came in and said, hello, people. Here it is again. Matt Hyman has coined it the Gregorina, which I think is probably something that will stick here on the program. We even got some shout out for the singing today. Great, great singing. SK, the Stanley Cup for Gregory. And Bridget, and I agree wholeheartedly, the world needs more people like at Gregory Liverpool. And then Greg came in and got all of his glory. And Running Man, after seeing that, realized that he was doing it wrong last night. So great stuff. We will definitely keep that in this. That could be a new WST emote, or I know Waiters has made a GIF of it. So maybe we as WSTers, every time Gabe Vilardi scores, that'll be a New Year's resolution for all of us, folks. Here in Fans First Fan Feedback, we're gonna make sure that GIF is widely available. Maybe it should just be called the Gregorina, and every time Gabe Vilardi scores, you need to flood your social media feeds with the Gregorina. Keep the comments coming. And again, thanks to everyone that contributed in any way this year to Winnipeg Sports Talk, whether it was coming in and having some fun in the chat. Mr. Arrow, thank you very much for that super chat, by the way. Whether it is listening on the podcast, I mean, there's nothing that gets me going more. And every single time I'm out at hockey games or just out on the town, I have people that come up that say, hey, you know what? I love the show. I listen every day, but I'm just not able to kind of be a part of what happens in the chat because the podcast listeners are a massive part of this as well, even though they can't react in real time while we're doing it. So thank you to everyone that has been a part of it. And obviously, all of our fan feedback. Can't wait to do more of that. Brought to you by Fans First, by fans, for fans, no fees. But we'll look forward to some more good times, some more laughs as we get into 2025. But one more order of business for the year, and that's hopefully to provide you with a few winners over at Coolbet. Had a fun time in the lock shop with Matt Awanek today and Jake Bowen Moss. Dusty will be back next week. Let's start with the World Juniors. And wow, okay, this was a pick'em earlier today. The money's coming in on Canada right now. I actually think the value is probably there with Team USA based on what we've seen so far. But you want to go with the homer bet, Canada minus 121 on the money line and USA minus 101. I actually don't mind, and I have put down a little sprinkle on a draw, plus 330. Could see this being a really, really tight game. Canada wants to get to overtime to assure themselves of a top 2 finish. So if it's tight, I think they batten down the hatches, play for overtime, and then see what happens. Czechia and Sweden's dropping the puck at 4. Swedes minus 213. Czechia plus 170. Tonight in the NHL, a ton of games. The Jets are a big underdog tonight, as you would imagine. Backup goalie, back-to-back nights, rested team, a very good team waiting for them. Colorado's minus 208. The Jets are plus 175. But the Jets have been surprising people all year long. You know they'd love to finish off the year with a win against the team that bounced them from the playoffs in 2024. I like the over in that game, to be honest with you. I think the Jets are still going to score. We know what the power play can do. Probably unreasonable to think that the Avalanche won't get theirs. So we'll probably be on the 6.5. I mean, other top games tonight. We got the Winter Classic. That, I guess, is scheduled for 4, Remis. I didn't realize. I thought that might be a little later on. But the Blues minus 143. Chicago's plus 121. We're all Sabres fans tonight. Wouldn't that be nice if Buffalo can continue their strong play as of late after they broke their 13-game losing streak and beat Dallas in Dallas tonight? Buffalo plus 182, Dallas minus 217. The Preds are back at it against the Wild on their back-to-back. Nashville plus 103, Minnesota minus 122. And a couple of Canadian games beginning at 8 o'clock, the final games of the calendar year. Vancouver plus 115, no Paterson, no Hughes. Calgary at home minus 135. And the Edmonton Oilers, after a pretty blat weekend, according to my friends at Edmonton Sports Talk, minus 200. And the Utah Hockey Club plus 170. Now, if you go to the main page, we do have a lock shop partner parlay. We're taking the Oilers. We are taking the Minnesota Wild to beat the Preds. And listen, it's tough to take the Jets to win this game tonight. You'd love to see them hang in there. I think we're going to see some goals, though. So we're taking the over on Jets Avalanche. So over 6.5, including OT, Minnesota, Edmonton. That is boosted from plus 400 to plus 470 right now. They've got some other good ones. Here's an O Canada. If you want to bet the Jets to win, how about this one? Jake cooked this one up. Canada to beat the U.S. money line. Jets to beat the Avalanche money line. Edmonton to beat Utah money line. That's plus 750. There's a Canada Next Gen with Connor Bedard to get a point. Gavin McKenna to score in the World Junior game. And Macklin Celebrini to get an assist. That one's at plus 756. And the Stars and Snipes is a good one. Ryan Leonard to score in the Canada-USA game. Kyle Connor to score in the Jets-Avs game. And Jack Hughes to score in the Devils Dust game. That's just about 14-1. So you can check all those up at the top. One other thing that we will throw up there is a ride with Huss for tomorrow's college football playoffs. Well, actually today's. We got Boise State tonight. That's in the exclusives room, by the way, under Lock Shop. I like Boise State plus 11.5. They only lost one game this year. It was 37-34 to Oregon at the start of the season. I think they're being disrespected against Penn State. Boise State plus 11.5. We're going to lay the points with Texas tomorrow, 12.5 versus ASU, and take the Ducks plus 2.5 versus Ohio State, plus 675 with the boost. That is over there in the Cool Bet exclusives. And Remo, we celebrate 2024 tonight, ring in the new year, watch some hockey, watch some football tomorrow, and then back at it on Thursday with the best of 2024, the big stories going into 2025, and another hockey game. Because guess who's coming to town to celebrate 2025? Jacob Trouba and the Anaheim Ducks on Thursday as the Jets begin that 8-game homestand at Canada Life Center.
Yeah, really excited for this homestand. Has the Jets, their home record this year, absolutely incredible, and so much talk about how tough the schedule was. It was interesting to hear Conor McGahey talk about how the Avalanche went through that as well. But yes, the Jets' home record, 14-3-1, chance to improve that on. Man, look at this lead they have in the Central. Here we go, the race for another banner, 4-game win streak. Can they extend it to 5 tonight? But good chance to get a win at home Thursday against Jacob Trouba and the Anaheim Ducks. Number 65, Hustler. What a great number.
Yeah, he's playing right guard for the Anaheim Ducks. Offensive lineman number, if there ever was one. And one more time in 2024, the standings are as follows in the Western Conference. Winnipeg Jets, 55 points through 38 games. Vegas, 53 points through 36. So I think Vegas has the Jets slightly on points percentage. But a 7-point lead at the top of the Central Division. Jets are 11 up on Colorado going into tonight. Colorado has a game in hand. They're 7 up on Minnesota, The Wild have a game in hand. 12 points up on the Dallas Stars. The Stars have 3 games in hand. And 17 up on the Utah Hockey Club. And 17 up on the next team outside. Or I should say Calgary, I guess, is the team on the outside looking in of the wild card. But 14 points clear of a playoff spot in the West. It has been a great, great run. It was the year of Connor Hellebuyck in a lot of ways. Certainly he put an exclamation mark on it last night. And Remis, I am fired up to get back to it on Thursday. And even though it's already actually started, we can officially start our Heli for Heart campaign on WST. Let's print the merchandise. Let's get things going and get ready to go, because this guy is doing things we have never seen before in Winnipeg, and the hockey club is as well. So hopefully 2025 can be as prosperous as the second half of 2024 has been for both Heli and the Winnipeg Jets, and of course for us and all of our listeners and viewers here on WST.
Yes, thank you so much to everyone for their continued support of the show. And this year, thank you everyone for the generous super chats, and thank you to the sponsors. Without them, we probably wouldn't be here doing this. So thankful every day that we're here having fun, talking about sports, Jets, Bombers, looking for a big 2025 as well with the Grey Cup here. Sea Bears have the CBL Championship, so a lot to look forward to. But we'll spend some time looking back and also looking forward to the game this evening as well.
Well, yeah, and listen, on Thursday's show, I mean, some of our favorites of 2024, but also the big stories of 2025. I mean, obviously, we're in the middle of this Jets season. I mean, what a massive year for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers coming up. I mean, hosting the Grey Cup, final year of Zach's contract, final year as it stands right now for Mike O'Shea and Kyle Walters. So there's a lot of intrigue for our Bombers, but it should be a great one. It has been an awesome 2024. And again, to all of you, have a wonderful and safe New Year's. We appreciate everything that you've done for us. As Michael Remis just said to the sponsors, we appreciate the support and our partnerships moving forward. And honestly, just the friends that we've made through this silly program. Doing it every day, and most of all, whether it's our get-togethers at Little Brown Jug or Boston Pizza or at the games, just continuing to sort of build this community both on the internet and in real life, like actual real people, which we all are. Anyways, gang, we'll let Remo get back to the kids and the toboggan slides, and wherever you're at, do it safely. Have one for us. Have a very happy new year. Enjoy tomorrow off, all the college football. And Thursday's going to be a big show. Quarterfinals of the World Junior, Jets, Ducks. First show of 2025, heading into the Week 18 of the National Football League. We're going to be packed. I hope you'll join us. Until then, enjoy the next couple days, and we'll see you Thursday for the first time in 2025 right here on Winnipeg Sports Talk, 1 p.m. live on YouTube. Tell a friend about WST if they've been sleeping on us. Let them know how to subscribe, and join us on YouTube or on the podcast on a daily basis. We are coming up to our 1,000th show and our 4th anniversary in early March. So it is going to be a big year for WST. We can't wait for it. Have a good one tonight. Cheers. Happy New Year. We'll see you next year, Thursday, 1 p.m. right here on WST. Have a great one, everyone.
Oh, my God. Oh! Shut it down. Let's go home.
Thanks for tuning in to Winnipeg Sports Talk Daily. Make sure to subscribe on YouTube and your favorite podcast feed at winnipegsportstalk.com.